If you've not been here before, this is YouTube's sailing channel, We Bought a Boat, and this is our boat, Dancing Bear. We are a family of 5, exploring the UK for our second season and learning as we go. In these episodes we're going to explore some new UK destinations, new marinas, and hopefully share the experience with you. So welcome aboard. Coming up in this episode, I'm going to talk about what it takes to make a YouTube video, the type of equipment you need, and some helpful tips and tricks I've learned along the way. From camera equipment to drones, and most importantly, the post-production process or the editing and putting the video together. So if you haven't already, please like, share and subscribe, and if you have any questions about this video, please feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll answer them as soon as I possibly can. Okay, so let's talk about equipment. I'm going to start off by saying firstly, you don't need to go out and spend a fortune. A lot of channels have started with literally just an action cam, something like a GoPro, and then later have added things like drones and things like that. But equipment, I think, really comes down to personal preference, and it also comes down to budget. But you can do it without having to spend thousands of pounds. Personally, I think that the best setup you can have is a similar setup to what I use. So I, for instance, have a GoPro Hero 10, I have an Osmo Pocket 2, and I have a DJI Mini 3 drone. We also need to discuss sound, and I'm going to dive a bit deeper into that in a minute. But you also need the ability to be able to record decent sound. Now, I started off my channel with just having a GoPro. And what you'll find with GoPros is that they don't handle wind noise so well. So when I invested in the Osmo Pocket 2, I bought the creator pack with that, and it was very reasonable. I think it was all under £400. That came with a DJI mic as well, which made a huge difference to my recording. Actually recording this episode, I'm actually using the DJI mic to record this sound, and as you can see, it's pretty decent. And in windy conditions, it is better to have a mic because you'll alleviate all of that mic noise in the background. But I highly recommend going with an action cam for B-roll. If you don't know what B-roll is, don't panic. I'm going to dive into shots and types of shots in the next section. But definitely an action cam like a GoPro. DJI do an action cam as well, but I prefer the GoPros. When it comes to drones, you've got to go DJI. Now, I use a Mini 3 Pro, but I also use a Phantom 4 Pro. And the reason I use the Phantom 4 Pro is just for launching off of a boat, because it's got the legs, as you can see in this picture. It's much easier to hand launch and hand catch. That's why I prefer that. But it is a bigger drone. I would recommend having a good practice with it. But that's my recommendations when it comes to drone. Go DJI, you can't go wrong. As regards to the camera that you use to kind of do the talking head when you're actually talking to camera, that again comes down to personal preference and budget. I use the Osmo 2 because it was cheap. It's a 4K camera, it's stabilized, and it came with a mic which is really good, and I know that the DJI mics are really good. They're quite good quality. It's small, it's compact. Other channels, bigger channels, are using big DJI rolling gimbals like here in this picture. I do have one of those, because I've mentioned before in previous episodes, I'm a videographer, but I find it on my boat particularly, it's quite big, it's quite heavy, it's quite cumbersome, and I've the type of videos I'm making at this stage, I don't really need something like that on the boat. So the Osmo Pocket 2 is really nice and compact, it's small. I highly recommend it. The image quality is very good, and combined with the GoPro pictures, it gives me everything I need. So as regards to equipment, as I said, it comes to personal preference, but you don't need to spend a fortune. I would say you can get yourself a really good setup for £1,500 or less, and you don't need all three. You can just get away with the GoPro just to start, But I think the drone, when you can launch it and use it, and if you use it properly, which again I'm going to go into more details on how to get good drone shots later, they're definitely worth having in the kit for times when you can get them up and you can use them. But that's my kit recommendation. As regards to additional bits and bobs on top of that, you'll need something called ND filters. There's a picture of them here. ND filters, basically, in a nutshell, they go onto the front of your camera and they allow you to shoot into light. So particularly in this drone shot, you can see in the background I'm facing into the sun, I'm getting the sunset. Now if I didn't have an ND filter on the front, that would be very overexposed. The camera really would do a good job of it, or do the sunset or the sunrise justice. So that's why you use ND filters. It's to reduce the light coming into the camera, allow you to shoot in brighter situations, if you like. And they tend to come in packs of 4 or more. They tend to start at what's called ND 4 or 8, and they go up to it goes 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, up to 120, whatever it is. But I don't think you'd need to go that high. I would say if you've got an ND 8, 16 and 32, great. Most of them come in packs of 4, as I said, so you'll get an ND 4, 8, 16 and 32. That is all you're going to need, particularly in the UK, to deal with the light that you're going to be shooting into. But as regards to equipment, you don't have to rush out and buy a 6K camera. I shoot in 4K, yes, but I always render my videos back to 1080. Everything you watch on TV pretty much is in 1080, which is HD. 4K just allows you to do what's called cropping, which again I will dive into later. But you don't need to spend a fortune. As long as you can get a fairly decent image out of it. Even iPhones now, you can record episodes on iPhones. I use my iPhone. I often grab clips on my iPhone and send them over to the edit. So that's my recommendation when it comes to equipment, is you can start very basic with just an action cam, but I like to have an action cam for B-roll. I like to have a drone on board, and I like my Osmo Pocket 2 for when I do the talking to camera, because I can get to use the mic. Okay, so filming, probably the most difficult section to cover. And to cover well and to not drag it on too much. So we're going to start with settings. The settings that you really need to concentrate on is your resolution settings firstly. So as I said earlier, I shoot in 4K, but if your camera only shoots in 1080, shoot in 1080. Next, you need to worry about your frame rate. I shoot in 50 frames per second. The reason I do that is for speed ramping, which I'm going to delve into shortly, but I shoot in 50 frames per second. Then it's going to be your shutter speed, which needs to be double your frame rate. So if you're shooting in 50 frames per second, your shutter speed needs to be at 100. That is the basics of your settings. Anything else I wouldn't worry about at this stage, and I would highly recommend, if you're not a professional videographer, to shoot in manual mode, in auto mode, and let the camera do the rest for you. Okay, so let's start talking about types of shots you need to start thinking about getting. So the main shots I want you to concentrate on and start thinking about getting when you're out filming a YouTube video is talking heads, B-roll and drone shots. Now technically drone shots and B-roll can be the same thing, but I'll explain that later. I also want you then to start thinking about speed ramping, and then we're going to talk a little bit about hyperlapse. But the main shots you're going to be gathering is talking heads and B-roll. So let's talk a little bit about B-roll. So B-roll basically are cut shots. There are shots that you are using when you're doing a talk over, like I'm doing now in this video. You need to get a lot of B-roll, so as much as you can possibly get. This is where the GoPro comes in for me, because I've got some brackets and things I can set up around the boat, press record, leave it. It's just grabbing shots of the boat moving along, beautiful sceneries, all sorts of different things, but you need a lot of it because you can't always be talking to camera, otherwise your video is going to be quite boring. You need to mix it up a lot. You need to get a lot of this content, and you can see in the background here some examples of the B-roll, and you're going to need to get a lot of this. So my main bit of advice is get a lot of these B-roll shots, get a lot of different angles, lots of different bits, shots from boat moving along, looking backwards, nice bits of scenery, all those kind of lovely fill-in shots is basically what B-roll is. The next bit we're going to talk about is talking heads. So this is when you are talking to camera. What you really need to concentrate on, and this is the reason I use the Osmo for this, is you need to make sure that you're in focus. So if you use something like an Osmo or something like that, they tend to have what's called face tracking. So you can just click it on your face, and it will track your face as you're talking. And as I said about mics previously, obviously have your mic set up, make sure it's working, you know you're capturing good sound, the camera's tracked on your face, and you can just, you know, say whatever it is you want to say for your video into the camera, and you know the camera is grabbing everything you need. Now, drones. I see a lot of people using drones, and the biggest tips I can give you for drones is use the auto functions. Make sure you use the same settings as you're recording your other cameras in, so set all your cameras to 50 frames per second, 100 on the shutter speed, and whatever the best resolution it has, generally 4K or 1080p, set them all the same. And with your drone shots, the biggest tip I can give you, as you can see from these drone shots in the background, is that you don't move the camera around too much when you're recording. What you want to do is you want to set your shot up so you've got whatever it is in the middle of your frame, set your camera angle, and then start moving the drone from left to right, or up and down, or backwards and forwards. Keep it simple. The simplest or the best drone shots are always the ones that are captured using simple movements. If you start moving your camera up and down, you know, rolling it up and down as you're moving from left to right, or you know, whatever you're doing, it makes it look very bad. You don't need to capture huge amounts of drone shots. You need to be concentrating on getting clips that last about 10-15 seconds at a maximum, and just get lots of them and cut them together. The other biggest tip I can give you with drone shots is movement. What's really important that we know in the trade when you're editing is that you should never have two shots moving in the same direction. So as you can see behind in the video I've got here, every time I cut to a new drone shot, the drone is moving in a different direction. So if the first shot I'm moving from left to right, I make sure that the next drone shot I'm cutting to is moving from right to left, or up and down. Excuse me, hay fever. Yeah, so make sure that your drone shots, when you're cutting them together, that you're moving the drone in a different direction every shot. That really makes it, give it a more cinematic feel. What I'm going to quickly roll over now is the reason for the 50 FPS. So speed ramping. Speed ramping is basically where you want to either slow the footage down or speed it up. Now, as regards to speed ramping, the reason we're shooting 50 is because you can slow 50 FPS down to make it like a nice slow-mo shot, like you can see here. If you shoot in 25, which is what a lot of people say, 25 frames per second, you can't slow that footage down. Now, you can speed 25 frames per second up to make it fast, like you can see in this shot here, but you can't slow it down. Now, if you shoot in 50 FPS, you can do both, which is why I set all of my cameras to 50 frames per second, because any shot I've got, whether it's a B-roll shot from my GoPro, or whether it's from my drone, or even from my Osmo, if I do use it to capture other shots, I can either speed it up or I can slow it down. They are the best tips I can give you. Use the ND filters when you're shooting into the sun. You'll see the difference. Still leave your camera in auto, it will adjust. But they are the best tips I can give you when it comes to filming. If you've got any more questions, just ask in the comments, I'll answer them. I'm trying to keep this video kind of a bit short and snappy, and I don't want to go into too much detail. I'm just trying to give the basic tips and tricks that I've learned along the way. But biggest ones you can take away from this: set your cameras, all of them, to the same frame rate, 50 FPS. Make sure you get a lot of B-roll shots for cutaways so you can fill up your video. And when you're doing drone shots, keep that camera steady. Just move it in one direction, grab 5 to 10 seconds, stop the recording, move it, position it, get ready for the next shot, whether you're going to go up and down, or you're going to go backwards and forwards, or whether you're going to be straight over the top. Whatever shot it is you're going to do, make sure you keep that camera set. So set your target in the middle of the frame, try and keep it there, but don't roll the gimbal up and down during the movement, because it really wrecks drone shots and you don't get a good cinematic feel. So that is my tips and tricks for filming. Next section is going to be on the editing or post-production. Now then, editing and post-production, probably the most difficult section to cover. I'm not going to delve hugely into editing and post-production, because it really is down to you as regards to how much time you want to put into it. On the screen here you can see I've got some logos: YouTube, Final Cut Pro, Premiere Pro and GoPro Studio. These are all things that I've used in the past. I currently use Final Cut Pro on a MacBook and an iMac. I find it very intuitive and a very good editing package to use. But I actually started with GoPro Studio. GoPro Studio is really, really good. It's easy to use, it's intuitive, it's basic. It's very, very basic. I didn't actually use GoPro Studio for any of my YouTube channel. I actually just used it when I started using cameras years and years ago, and it just kind of taught me, or I learned the basics of how to put an edit together and what it all means and how timelines work and how you lace things in with shot transitions and things like that. But it really is a minefield. It's a big section to cover. I'm not going to cover it in this video, as I said, because it's too in depth. If you want me to do a video on editing and how I put a video together, then leave a comment, and I will think about putting one together, because it really will be quite in depth, and I will probably have to do maybe more than one. But my top tip for editing and post-production is good old YouTube. I learned everything from YouTube. So YouTube taught me how to use GoPro Studio. I then went on to Premiere Pro, which is the other logo you saw. Premiere Pro, I find it quite complicated, plus you have to pay a monthly subscription to have Premiere Pro. I think it's around £20 a month, which I thought was expensive. With Final Cut Pro on a Mac, you basically buy it and it's yours for life. I can't remember the exact price, but it's been worth every penny. I've had it for more than 5 years, and I still use it today. Even for my professional work, I use Final Cut Pro, but I'm not a professional editor by any means. So I do my best, but I don't tout myself as an editor or post-production. I can do the basics. As you can probably see from my videos, they're not always put together the best because I'm not the best editor. I would say that the big channels, most of these guys have editing teams now that do the editing for them, do the post-production. So sailing channels like Le Vagabond and things like that, they've all got post-production people doing their post-production. I don't know exactly on the other channels. Some people are just naturally very good editors and have a creative eye for it. I find it quite difficult. But I can't delve into too much detail because it is a huge section to cover. But I would recommend YouTube. Get on YouTube, start learning. As I said, GoPro Studio is a really good beginner platform, and if you want to move up after that, if you're a PC user, Premiere Pro is probably your go-to. If you're a Mac user like me, Final Cut Pro is where I would recommend to go. But that's pretty much all I'm going to cover in this video as regards to editing and post-production. I hope you've all enjoyed this video. I wanted to do something a bit different. The reason being is we're in a bit of a transition-y kind of period with the boat where we've just been doing some small trips with some friends. We've been helping out Matt with his boat. I've got a couple of pictures here of Matt on his boat. It's on the hard. It's going to be launched soon, so we're really excited about that. And me and Matt are also talking or making plans for a big trip for the end of the season. And I won't spoil it with what's coming up, but that's going to be happening in the next few weeks, I think. And that's if we do go ahead with the plans and do it, we're really, really excited about it. But I'll keep you posted on that. But thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, please like, share and subscribe. It really helps, really keeps me motivated to keep going. As I said, if you've got any questions about anything I covered in this video, just drop it in the comments and I'll reply to you as soon as I see them. But thank you, and I look forward to seeing you all for the next episode.